The Black Friday BOGO sale is here at All Family Pharmacy. And let me tell you, this is the kind of deal that actually matters. From November 24th through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or mebendazole, you get another one absolutely free. So at a time when Americans are tired of being lectured and restricted by bureaucrats, this is your chance to be prepared on your terms. No politics, no gatekeepers. Just real options that put you in control. Here's how simple it is. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone. Place your order online and a licensed physician reviews it immediately. Once approved, your medication ships straight to your door. Fast, private, and secure. This Black Friday event lasts only 1 week and supplies are limited. So when the inventory is gone, that's it. No extensions, no second chances. Just like every other real deal worth talking about seriously. If you want to stay ready, stay protected, and stay independent, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone before December 2nd and lock in your Black Friday BOGO deal. Take control of your health. Stay prepared and stay free.
From writer-director Rian Johnson.
The Holy Grail. A perfectly impossible crime.
Wake Up Dead Man has critics singing its praises.
God help me. Anything else?
It's a deliciously entertaining mystery.
That's nice.
It's certified fresh.
It's a miracle.
Okay, you're freaking me out now.
It's the best Knives Out movie yet.
This case is solvable, right?
Oh, you'll see. It's fun.
Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery starring Daniel Craig. Now played in select theaters on Netflix December 12th. Rated PG-13.
The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You are now entering the Stone Zone. Well, the decision earlier this week by Judge Cameron McGowan Curry to dismiss the prosecutions of both former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James proves yet again that when you're dealing with a left-wing activist partisan judge, the Constitution, the law, the evidence, the rules, none of these things matter. Judge Cameron McGowan Curry is not a judge. She's a Democrat activist in a black robe. Her decision, which was a technical one, that the appointment of Lindsay Halligan to serve as the interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was a violation of 28 U.S. Code 546, a section on vacancies, is completely and totally wrong. I don't know any lawyer I respect who thinks that this was a proper and just decision. But since I'm not a lawyer, let's go to this terrific exchange between Laura Ingraham at Fox and David Schoen, who is, in my opinion, probably the most brilliant criminal defense and constitutional lawyer in the country.
Some of the procedural stuff here is in question, but you say this was avoidable. How so?
It was avoidable because, quite frankly, the Justice Department should have just put somebody in the room with Lindsay Halligan and would have taken away all of the arguments for dismissal, quite frankly, based on all the decisions around the country. I still don't think the decision is right, but it was avoidable in that sense. I give Lindsay Halligan great credit, and she showed great courage here. She looked at the facts and the evidence. She saw that there was a wrong committed, and she got an indictment. She was put in this position, and she should have had more support than she was given. But it's not a major setback for the Trump administration or anything like that. It was obviously, it was going to happen. But I think they're wrong in the arguments for a couple of reasons. There's some pretty esteemed scholars, Steve Calabrese, Paul Cassell, who have explained why the courts just have it wrong with this. Professor Calabrese says this section of the law, 546, is unconstitutional. It invades the executive power. And he cites a couple of recent cases that talk about the exclusive executive power, and here to appoint a representative of the executive branch. Cassell says it's constitutional, but that the president has the right to appoint successive interim U.S. attorneys, or in this case, she could act as acting U.S. attorney. We see in the case in California with Bilal Asaili that he continued to go on as first assistant. So again, I give great credit to Ms. Halligan. But the other point I would make here is this. These are public figures. First of all, the hypocrisy of the argument now, given the position these folks took with Jack Smith. But in any event, putting that aside, these are public figures. Why not deal with these cases on the merits? They're going to have to sooner or later, because they will be re-indicted. And if you read the Ms. James indictment carefully, and of course everyone's entitled to the presumption of innocence, if you read it carefully, they have her coming and going if they can prove the allegations in the indictment. First, she claimed a secondary home, which means she has to have certain personal use days, 14 days a year. But in her tax schedule, according to the indictment at least, she said 0 personal days in the home. I would ask questions like, did she have an insurance policy? What did she put on her application? Did she make a claim? What was her capacity there? I think that case is going to be a slam dunk, quite frankly.
Yeah, I find the decision to dismiss the case against former FBI Director James Comey particularly vexing. The reason I say that is because James Comey and I were charged with exactly the same crime. I was charged with lying to Congress under oath, despite the fact that no misstatement I made was material, meaning no misstatement I inadvertently made was either obviously willful, nor did it hide any underlying crime, meaning there was no Russian collusion, there was no collaboration with WikiLeaks, and this all came to the public's eye only when a federal judge ordered the Justice Department to release Special Counsel Robert Mueller's full final report. They had redacted the entire section about me. They also refused to give that information. Judge Amy Berman Jackson refused to give that exculpatory information to my defense attorneys at trial. We wouldn't even know about it, but for a subsequent case in which BuzzFeed, of all people, sued the Justice Department thinking that the final report would be embarrassing to me, when in fact all it really did was exonerate me. The reason this is important, of course, is because we now know that the appointment of Robert Mueller was unconstitutional. I say this because the appointment of Jack Smith, the special counsel, was found to be unconstitutional by Judge Eileen Cannon. That's because Jack Smith, like Robert Mueller, was never confirmed by the U.S. Senate, that there was no law establishing the position to which both of them were appointed, and there was no funding to fund their massive multi-million-dollar witch hunt. So here is the two-tier justice system writ large. My prosecution by Robert Mueller was unconstitutional because his appointment was unconstitutional, and therefore he never even had the authority to indict me. But now, in a case where very clearly the appointment of Lindsay Halligan, after the president found out that Eric Siebert, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, had a massive conflict of interest, he had never revealed that his father-in-law, his wife's father, was the godfather to James Comey's children. On that basis alone, candidly, he should have recused himself, and now, in all honesty, he should actually be disbarred. This is a larger fight here. It is judicial tyranny, where the courts were loaded up with highly partisan and corrupt judges under both Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and they attempt to continue to try to thwart the will of the American people in the last election. A terrific interview there by David Schoen. I should point out that the two law professors he quoted, Professors Calabresi and Casale, neither one of them are Trump supporters or Republicans or conservatives, but they are highly respected constitutional experts. This is a story we will be covering, but for anyone to believe that New York Attorney General Letitia James is now in the clear, you are sadly mistaken. I think the statute of limitations will run out. I think this was done purposely. I think Eric Siebert slow-walked the investigation and the questions regarding James Comey, knowing that statute of limitations for his lying to Congress about the Russian collusion hoax, material matters, would run out in early January. But Letitia James can run, but she cannot hide. She has a 43-year record of mortgage fraud. I can say with total confidence that every single mortgage application or attestation regarding her mortgages that she has filed in her entire adult career is riddled with fraud. If you don't believe that, you can go to whitecollarfraud.com. The other thing that's fake here is that Eric Swalwell, yet another one of the Democrats caught in mortgage fraud, is now suing the head of the Federal Housing Finance Administration, Bill Pulte, claiming that Pulte accessed privileged records. The problem with that, of course, is that all of the records pertaining to mortgage fraud by Letitia James or Senator Adam Schiff or Congressman Eric Swalwell can be found online with anybody with a laptop and half a brain. There are no government-protected documents here. Bill Pulte did the right thing. He was sent online evidence of mortgage fraud, and he referred it to the Justice Department for them to make a decision. We'll be following this story very closely. There's now a growing push for a retrial or a pardon for Derek Chauvin. He was the Minneapolis law enforcement officer who was convicted of murdering serial felon and drug addict George Floyd, causing the entire country to go up in flames as the racial vengeance movement, Black Lives Matter, took our nation hostage for many months. 50 current or former police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department have come forward to attest that the maneuver he used with Chauvin, placing his knee on Chauvin's upper back, was part of proper police procedure and had been part of the Minneapolis Police Department's training program. This, of course, contradicts the sworn testimony given by Minneapolis Police Department Inspector Katie Blackwell during Chauvin's kangaroo court trial, where his guilty verdict was engineered from the start. And then, of course, there is the autopsy. The autopsy shows that George Floyd died from a drug overdose. It does not show that he died from the maneuvers of Officer Chauvin. Now, Elon Musk and also my good friend Jack Posobiec have both been outspoken advocates in recent months for Chauvin to receive a pardon or at a minimum a retrial. Chauvin, the former police officer, was brutally stabbed 22 times behind bars by a man who was once or perhaps is still an FBI informant, but miraculously he has survived. It's time, in my view, for Derek Chauvin to be vindicated and a stake to be driven through the false narrative of George Floyd and the lies about him once and for all. This case is paramount for restoring the rule of law against the deceptions of DEI and multiculturalism. I also want to thank the many listeners here at the Stone Zone who heard our show about the 62nd anniversary of the brutal murder of President John F. Kennedy and told us how much they liked it. The facts remain the same. If Lee Harvey Oswald killed John F. Kennedy, why then does the test conducted by the Dallas Police Department show that he has no powder burns or nitrate on his hands, his arms, or his chest? Why did the Dallas Police Department not even test the alleged murder weapon to determine whether it had been shot that day? Why was the Warren Commission given artists' renderings instead of the actual X-rays and autopsy photos? Why is it that the FBI sent out a telex on November 17th warning all the FBI stations in the country about a plot in Dallas to murder President John F. Kennedy, a telex that would conveniently disappear? And then last but not least, we now know that J. Edgar Hoover, then the FBI director, informed the new president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, that the KGB, the Russian intelligence agency, had conducted their own investigation into the murder of JFK, and they concluded that the murderer, the ringleader of the murder, was Lyndon Baines Johnson himself. I wrote a New York Times bestseller about it, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. I feel entirely vindicated as more information has come forward based on the investigation conducted by Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna in the House committee. You're listening to the Stone Zone right here. I'm Roger Stone. We've got more hot politics for you just around the corner, so whatever you do, don't touch that dial.
It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
The Lincoln Wishlist sales event is happening now. Here's what's on everyone's wish list. Enjoying holiday jingles with brilliant 3D audio that surrounds you? Check. Watching snow flurries through the panoramic vista roof? Check. Packing up presents with the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Check. Everything you want. All standard on the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com for exceptional offers on 2025 Lincoln vehicles today.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
The Stone Zone. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back into the Stone Zone. I think every American, regardless of their politics, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or even those who are non-political, should be praying for peace this holiday season. It appears now that Ukraine has agreed to a modified peace plan based on the framework proposed by President Trump ahead of Thursday's Thanksgiving deadline. Ukraine, it is reported, has now agreed to a 19-point peace plan, scaled down from President Trump's initial 28-point peace plan that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had problems with. The plan still contains some provisions forcing Ukraine to cede some land to Russia and to shrink down their armed forces. Frankly, Americans are tired of paying for a war started by the Biden administration in violation of the Budapest Memorandum, in which we, the United States, promised in a sworn and signed agreement with the Russians not to push Ukraine, which abuts Russia, into NATO. It is only the actions of Joe Biden that started this war. It has been made very clear by Vladimir Putin that this was his line in the sand. Now it looks like peace may be at hand. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Ukrainian officials in Geneva to help broker the peace agreement. Additionally, the United States Army Secretary Dan Driscoll reportedly had some talks with Russians in the United Arab Emirates yesterday to make sure that they're on the same page. The Trump administration remains hopeful that they can bring both sides together. It appears that the region is closer to peace than at any time since Donald Trump has come to office. With Zelensky now embroiled in a massive scandal after some of his own top political cronies were exposed for embezzling over $100 million from an energy company that was being subsidized by you and I, the U.S. taxpayers, public opinion in Ukraine is rapidly turning against him. Perhaps this is why Zelensky has repeatedly canceled elections. So don't tell me this war is about preserving democracy, because there is no more democracy in Ukraine than there is in Russia. For those of you who say, oh, Stone, you're just a Russian sympathizer, let me remind you, my relatives were mowed down and killed by Russian tanks in Budapest in 1956. My entire interest in American politics is based on support for anti-communism, which was first awakened in me when I read a book called Conscience of a Conservative by Senator Barry Goldwater. The fact that my wife, Nidia, is a Cuban American and that her family lost everything to the brutal Castro regime only galvanized my opposition to communism. So I have no great love for the Russians or the Russian system. But what I hate even more is the senseless killing. The hundreds of thousands of both Russians and Ukrainians who have been fed into a meat grinder because of the globalist ambitions of Joe Biden and his friends in NATO. This peace deal could be Zelensky's very last chance to salvage his legacy and avoid public reprisal from his enraged people. It would be wise to cut the shenanigans and make a deal for peace now before Donald Trump loses his patience and cuts Ukraine off entirely. You're listening to the Stone Zone. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial because we'll be right back.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This episode is brought to you by Blink. Blink Friday starts now with up to 65% off Blink Smart Security. Check on your pets all season long with new Blink Mini 2K Plus cameras. See your gifts arrive in head-to-toe view with Blink Video Doorbell. Ready to use right out of the box. Just unwrap Blink and go. From pet parents to jet setters to busy families, Blink Friday deals have your holidays covered. Shop now at Amazon.com/Blink.
Say hello to the all-new Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do so much more for you. Need tickets to see your favorite artist? Craving your comfort restaurant? Just sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. It learns your style, anticipates what's next, and makes it happen across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at Amazon.com/new Alexa.
Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I can't tell you how much I appreciate those kind comments from Vice President J.D. Vance. Well, if you go back and look about it, I correctly predicted that Joe Biden, even though he was actively running, would not be the Democrat nominee for president in the last presidential election. I also incorrectly predicted that the nominee would be Michelle Obama, but I wasn't entirely incorrect. If you look at the gap in time between Joe Biden dropping out, Vice President Kamala Harris declaring her candidacy, and Barack and Michelle Obama finally endorsing Kamala Harris only after the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has done so, outgoing Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, his days are numbered, and other big-time Democrats, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. That's because Barack Obama was trying to persuade Michelle she would be the Democrat Party's best chance to hold the White House. Evidently, she was not persuaded, but that doesn't mean she's out of the picture for 2028. But frankly, I'm going to come up now, right this instant, with a new prediction. I actually think the Democrat Party nominee for president in 2028 will be New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Yes, I think the former bartender from Brooklyn from the Bronx, believes that her time is coming. New reports indicate that AOC is gearing up a campaign for the presidency in 2028, likely taking on challengers that could include former Vice President Kamala Harris, California Governor Gavin Newsom, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and the Bolshevik billionaire J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. J.B. Pritzker, this guy is so fat he has his own zip code. I mean, I met J.B. Pritzker on the corner of 31st, 32nd, and 33rd Street. And as the old joke goes, when J.B. Pritzker sits around the house, well, he sits around the house. I think Laura Ingraham of Fox is absolutely correct when she warns Republicans they should not take AOC lightly. There is a strain now in control of the old Democrat Party. The Democrat Party of patriots like John F. Kennedy and Harry Truman is dead. The term moderate Democrat is now an oxymoron when House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rushing into retirement, and Chuck Schumer's days are numbered because his radical left caucus actually believes he's too conservative to lead the party. First of all, from a mass-based marketing point of view, AOC could easily raise the millions of dollars that it takes to run for president, particularly if Act Blue, the online Democrat payment processing company, which is under federal investigation, which illegally raised millions and millions of dollars for New York Attorney General Letitia James, coming from donors who don't exist, or who, when they're contacted, independently say that they never gave such donations. You'll be hearing more about that right here in the Stone Zone. But Ingraham is correct when she said that AOC is building one of the most powerful political operations we've seen since Obama. It's not hyperbole, and there's no doubt that AOC is actually formidable. She's gone from being a punchline to a serious Democrat contender in virtually no time, given the shift to the hard left within their party. So if someone as extreme as Zohran Mamdani can win the mayoral race in New York City over former Democrat Governor Andrew Cuomo, then I predict to you that AOC could quite conceivably win a national Democratic contest for the nomination, and then be a stronger general election candidate than some Republicans could ever fathom. Meanwhile, Republican presidential contenders like Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, President Trump correctly called him Lion Ted, want to yank the Republican Party back to the bad old days of George W. Bush. Those were the days when the Republican Party was the party of the financial elites, the party of Wall Street, the party of the country club. Those days, my friends, are over forever. Donald Trump has upended the old narrative. Actually, before Donald Trump, every president we had was either a senator, a governor, a congressman, or a general. We never had a business person as president. The Republicans nominated Wendell Willkie, a Wall Street utilities lawyer, for president in 1940, and although he ran the best race of any of the four Republicans who challenged Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he still lost. But the idea of the party going back to be the party of endless foreign war, the party of the deep state, as Senator Ted Cruz would prefer, that would be an electoral disaster. Republicans have no choice, in my opinion, but to double down on the America First agenda and to offer a populist, anti-establishment vision for our country if they want to remain relevant in 2028 and beyond. Frankly, I think the public is sick and tired of traditional politics. That doesn't mean they're socialists, but they will consider a socialist candidate if they believe they're an outsider and will fight corruption in Washington, D.C. My Republican friends need to understand that the term socialist, which some might take as an epithet, doesn't carry the negative connotations among voters they think it does if you look at unbiased polling, which is rather sad. When younger voters think socialism is preferable to capitalism or democracy, we see what our education system has done to the country. In the meanwhile, those who support President Trump need to redouble their efforts. I think there's a number of potential candidates, but In our party, Vice President J.D. Vance would have a very substantial leg up. We are the party of hegemony, the party of the natural order of things, and we don't dump sitting vice presidents, and J.D. Vance has done an outstanding job. I think he doesn't get a lot of the credit that he deserves because, by design, vice presidents often are most effective behind the scenes. Alternatives, of course, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's gone from being a Ted Cruz and George Bush Republican to being one of the stars of Donald Trump's cabinet, a man who I think is on the cusp of forging peace between Ukraine and Russia. And, of course, my own personal favorite, the former Democrat Congresswoman and now Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. So we have a heavy bench of potential presidential and vice presidential candidates, while the Democrats have what I think are a flock of losers. We shall see, but you can mark it now. This was the day that Roger Stone predicted that AOC would be the Democrat candidate for president in 2028. In the meantime, we hear that Doge, which was the highly effective operation run by Elon Musk, may not be dead after all. It seems that the rumor of Doge's demise had been greatly exaggerated. A recent report by Reuters, which is not really a news organization, but largely a propaganda front for liberal Democrats, report that claims the Department of Government official, Doge, a brainchild of Elon Musk, that uncovered not millions, not billions, but literally trillions of dollars in waste, fraud, and corruption, and was shuttered 8 months earlier, may be false. Just this past week, Doge was hard at work eliminating 78 wasteful contracts for a total savings of $335 million to the U.S. taxpayers. The fake news about Doge was often based on a misquote from Office of Personnel Management Director Scott Cooper in order to falsify an error of an attempt to brew dissent within the Trump movement. Cooper made it clear that Doge may no longer have centralized leadership in Washington, D.C., but the Doge operation is now a permanent fixture within the entire federal bureaucratic apparatus. I was pleased to see Elon Musk actually spending time with President Trump just the other day at the conference with the Saudis in Miami. So the guiding principles of Doge, deregulation, eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse, reshaping the federal workforce, and making efficiency a first-class citizen, must remain among the top priorities of this administration if they are to win the 2026 midterm elections and win the presidential election. American people are tired of spending for waste, fraud, and corruption. They're particularly tired of their tax dollars being weaponized against Americans, flowing through USAID for all kinds of political schemes. The Office of Personnel Management and the Office of the Management and Budget should now be tasked with overseeing the Doge project throughout the government. Doge remains a vigilant watchdog working for the taxpayers of the United States, and it is time to bring Elon Musk back in the circle. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has unveiled the Genesis mission. Donald Trump signed an executive order on Monday to create the Genesis mission, which is a widespread initiative is meant to facilitate scientific breakthroughs using the power of artificial intelligence and keep the United States at the forefront of these nascent technologies, competing against China, Russia, and other wannabe world superpowers. Now, I think artificial intelligence is both very valuable and extraordinarily dangerous. I can tell you that the January 6th committee showed videos of me saying things that I never said. It only takes a simple AI detection software test. We conducted 3 to show that these false videos and audios were created and sometimes merged. I'd like to be able to prove that, but those on the January 6th committee destroyed all the records of their investigation before they lost power. Speaking of the president's new initiative, Energy Secretary Chris Wright said, with his pen today, President Trump signed a historic mission. This is reminiscent of the Manhattan Project that brought World War II to an early and successful end, similar in scope to the Apollo projects that put a man on the moon in 1969. It's an all-in national effort to take the powers of artificial intelligence and pair it with 40,000 outstanding scientists and engineers at U.S. national labs to use the world's largest supercomputers to advance innovation and science, to fix our rising energy costs, to give better economic opportunities for the average citizen, and to make longer and healthier lives possible. So Donald Trump is going to harness the enormous power of artificial intelligence to the benefit of the American people. AI is a powerful tool, and although there may be a bubble in the horizon in AI due to overinvestment in some of the markets, there's no denying that its power to transfer the economy is very, very real. Any government that is not investing in AI will quickly be left behind in the global marketplace. President Trump's Genesis mission could be the capstone of the America First agenda that will prevent any other country from being able to surpass us. There are exciting times ahead in this brave new world of technology, but I do think very specific laws have to be passed to prevent the false identification of individuals. They should not be able to make a video of Roger Stone or Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Donald Trump saying things that we never actually said. So impersonation through the use of AI should, in my opinion, be very specifically against the wall. As I predicted, the Epstein scandal has blown up in the face of Democrats spectacularly. And now, after ranting and raving about full disclosure, after I met with President Donald Trump roughly 10 days ago, the president ordered the release of all of the Epstein materials. Who's going to be embarrassed by this? No Republicans. In fact, if anyone who's listening knows of any Republican who visited Epstein's Island, you can call me right now at 800-848-9222. That's 800-848-9222. And tell me who that Republican is and cite your evidence. I don't expect to hear my phone calling. You're listening to Roger Stone right here in the Stone Zone and the Red Apple Audio Networks. And if you love politics, whatever you do, don't touch that dial or leave us online, because we'll be back with more.
This holiday, discover meaningful gifts for everyone on your list at Kay. Not sure where to start? Our jewelry experts are here to help you find or create the perfect gift, in-store or online. Book your appointment today and unwrap love this season, only at Kay.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back into the Stone Zone. For months, all Democrats could talk about was the Epstein files. They posed as crusaders for victims and champions of transparency, but now, after President Trump called for passage of the discharge petition that would release all of the Epstein files, the Democrats have suddenly gone silent. How can that be? I can tell you, because in 2015 I wrote a book called The Clintons' War on Women. I had from sources the FAA manifest showing me exactly who had traveled on Epstein's plane. I also had Epstein's Little Black Book, which had been published in Europe, in which his butler circled the names of those who had been involved in pedophilia. There are no Republicans visiting Epstein's Island. The president who was closest to Jeffrey Epstein was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton visited Epstein's Island on at least 13 occasions, was on his plane 26 times, according to the FAA records. I know this because I read the sworn testimony of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims, who refused a multi-million-dollar settlement in order to continue her lawsuit with Epstein. We're told that she committed suicide only weeks ago, having interviewed her for 6 hours for my 2015 book in 2 3-hour sessions. I don't think that's true. Who are the other big-name politicos who visited Epstein's Island? Well, there's Larry Summers. He was Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary. He's been forced to step down as the head of Harvard. Former U.S. Senator George Mitchell, the Democrat majority leader of the U.S. Senate, he was on the island too. And now we learn that the Democrats are finally sobering up and realize that it's their party who will be most damaged by the revelations regarding Epstein. We saw this in the example of Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett of the Virgin Islands, who was literally getting texted instructions from Jeffrey Epstein, who was in prison at the time, on questions to ask disgraced former Trump attorney Michael Cohen during an investigative House hearing. And then, of course, there's House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, the son of a virulent anti-Semite, who was exposed for currying favor with Epstein, whoring himself out for donations after Epstein was convicted of being a sex trafficker and a pedophile. So most of Epstein's correspondence show definitively that he hated Donald Trump, could not stand the man in his final years, and was severely undermining the Democrats' narrative that the two men were great friends and co-conspirators. The new emails also expose Stinky Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon had an extensive correspondence with Epstein, was actually giving Epstein public relations advice, coaching him on how to deal with the claims that he was a pedophile. One particular exchange, he notes that I had attacked Epstein in a video in connection with his relationships with the Clintons, and goes on to say that Epstein offered his close friend Steve Bannon use of his Palm Beach home or his island, Lolita Express destination Orgy Island, to which Bannon replied, "Thank you, brother. I ask you, who calls a convicted sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein brother?" So don't expect a renewed push by Democrats regarding Epstein. They actually ultimately will hope that this issue goes away, but unfortunately for them, many, many more revelations regarding Jeffrey Epstein will be released in the months to come. They will be held to account for their dealings with this child sex predator, but again, his closest friends, those who financed the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative, were none other than Bill and Hillary Clinton. Thanks for joining us tonight in the Stone Zone. If you love politics, and it's in my blood, this is the place to be. Until tomorrow, God bless you and Godspeed.
Thanks for listening to The Stone Zone with Roger Stone. You can hear The Stone Zone with Roger Stone weeknights at 8 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
The Black Friday BOGO sale is here at All Family Pharmacy, and let me tell you, this is the kind of deal that actually matters. From November 24th through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or mebendazole, you get another one absolutely free. So at a time when Americans are tired of being lectured and restricted by bureaucrats, this is your chance to be prepared on your terms. No politics, no gatekeepers, just real options that put you in control. Here's how simple it is. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone. Place your order online and a licensed physician reviews it immediately. Once approved, your medication ships straight to your door, fast, private, and secure. This Black Friday event lasts only 1 week and supplies are limited. So when the inventory is gone, that's it. No extensions, no second chances. Just like every other real deal worth talking about seriously. If you want to stay ready, stay protected, and stay independent, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone before December 2nd and lock in your Black Friday BOGO deal. Take control of your health. Stay prepared and stay free.